All right.
We're going to go. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Depending on your time zones, we could say good afternoon, good evening. Bonjour, marhaba, salamu alaikum, and thank you for being with us. So we will introduce ourselves in a moment. And at this stage, I would like to go through the agenda. Please, Joe. So today, we're going to have a session. Next page on the agenda, please. Yeah. Thank you. So thank you for being here. We will introduce ourselves and make a specific focus on differentiating what is generative AI and agentic AI, the challenges, how we transition to AI, and how agents can scale, and specifically focus on KYC, know your customer, because this is a very important example we can take, and then wrap up through a conclusion to say how we could do a pilot project and what could be the next step. I'd like, first of all, to mention something. In this presentation, you will see things step by step, so you can have the time to understand how we move from typical AI. Anyone has done like a search on Claude, on ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot. And what is agentic AI comes from agent. An agent is a virtual employee. So how is this done? Why it's done? And what's the value for you? So we're going to take you step by step, and we're confident that the demonstration, the demo, will even accentuate this, so you can finally leave with something you can think of and potentially apply in your businesses. Okay, so we're going to present ourselves. Joe, next slide, please.
All right, yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joe Abiad. I'm the CEO of Netiks Digital Solutions in Dubai. And our mission as Netiks since 25 years is to improve the performance of our customers. So the objective is not to implement systems, it is to improve the performance of our customers through the implementation of CRM, digital banking, AI solutions, and mobile solutions. We are present in Dubai and in Lebanon, and we cover, of course, Beirut, Iraq, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait. And we also have a major project where we're covering Europe and the US for a very big multinational, namely in CRM and now in AI applied to sales productivity, sales qualification, and sales closing to their international sales team. Paul?
Thank you, Joe. So at XN Consultant stands for Expert Network. We focus on three main assets in order to bring value and effective value. First of all, we are experts on the ground, not generalist consultants. So the most senior person is himself or herself on the ground to take projects from A to Z up until implementation. This is a major difference. We build the team with us and the client, and we take this journey so that we move specifically and ultimately until implementation. This is the second point. We believe that success conditions should be defined from the start, spending whatever efforts are necessary so that implementation truly happens. Because unless that happens, it's useless. And the third point, we believe that the mix of culture, local and international, bring a lot of value. We don't import Western value and implement them in the Middle East. We have people here around from Jeddah, Riyadh, Qatar, Egypt, we have France, UK, Switzerland. Each culture brings a lot of value. So we understand the local way of working and we bring that international touch. So this is the three key points. So Joe, now we're just going to start with the introduction. So we take you, as I said before, step by step.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
So let's start with a simple thing, Gen AI. We all know Gen AI since it started with ChatGPT. We have all used either ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude in order to write, summarize, to answer questions. And over the years, over the last 2 years, we have seen how brilliant it has become in summarizing content, in suggesting follow-up questions, in generating poems or pictures. And now we even can use it inside applications such as Excel or Word or PowerPoint in order to help us on an individual level. So I'm mentioning individual level because Gen AI today is mostly used as a personal productivity tool. And it is, by the way, still kind of reactive. It waits for you to send a prompt, it hands an answer, and we have to take action. So the productivity gains are surely there, but they are limited to an individual, to an employee, and rarely are spread over to a team or to a process. They don't really touch the enterprise as a whole. So if we consider that Gen AI or the chatbots that we're using through Gen AI are brilliant assistants, well, Agentic AI is something that is close to a digital employee. So the idea is that it is moving from answering questions uh, into something else. What is this something else? It's to plan, to decide, and to act. Agent in Latin comes from the word to act on something. So agentic means acting and not only listening and generating as in Gen AI. So instead of producing something for humans to act on, it's going to behave like a goal-driven digital employee that is owning the process, the work end to end. And this is where the difference is big. It's not only automating individual tasks, it is redesigning the workflow. This is important so that AI owns the outcome. AI owns the goal of our processes. So the transformation here is that we're using Gen AI, and we'll see later on how we're using Gen AI, but instead of it being an individual productivity tool, it's going to impact the bottom line and the productivity of the company. So what do we mean with redesigning the workflow? It means not automating the tasks only. I mean, it's rethinking the process by itself. So it is turning sequential tasks into parallel ones. We'll see how. It is eliminating unnecessary handoff between departments and stops at human intervention that slow down the process. It is letting AI decide on the next step instead of just executing a step in the workflow. And it is shifting the human beings, the employees, the people from executing the work to supervising the exceptions. And this is where this redesigning of a process or of a workflow around an objective is brought by Agentic AI and makes a very big difference and bring much more value. So when it is properly applied, what does it bring? It brings much higher productivity, fewer errors, fewer rework, and consistent performance over time. When it is properly applied, it will hit the EBIT and improve the EBIT and the bottom line of the companies. Let me give some examples of typical agentic AI. You can ask an agent to, okay, you can tell an agent, I want to book a trip to Amsterdam with a budget of 800 euros and want to sit near museums, and I want it to be next week. The agent is going to go and book your flight, compare different hotels, find the hotel that fits your budget and locate it near museums. In another example, closer to what we do at Netiks in call centers, It's going to listen or read messages, detect the sentiment of the customer. It will suggest solutions. It could solve the problem itself and close the loop, or it could redirect to an agent that is able to solve the problem or to at least to process the issue and to close the case. In the software industry, GitHub Copilot or GitHub Cloud help debug code, write documentations, develop software test plans, and acts like really a digital teammate helping the software development teams work by themselves. Another very close example, if any of you has used Claude in Excel, well, Claude in Excel is a typical agent. It's able to read a set of parameters. For example, if I'm calculating a tax, my taxes in Lebanon, it can understand the brackets which I give. It can which I give in my Excel. I can write the rules about the number of kids, the number of dependents, and automatically it's going to go understand what I said and calculate the taxes for last year, for example. These are small examples of how Agentic can help on an individual levels, but today in our webinar, we're addressing how Agentic can help on the level of the enterprise by impacting the processes that are important for you, operational, and that bring results on a company level. So we cannot step over this slide, which is talking about AI being a job killer or AI impacting the replacing human beings. The questions that are asked by executives such as the fear of disruption, will my people understand what AI is producing? Are we going to be able to audit what AI is giving us? What about transparency? What about the compliance and the governance? These are very legitimate questions, and these are being addressed on different levels by governments and by regulations. But today, we're not going to answer all these questions because we're focused on Agentic AI. But what we can say is that Agentic AI is not here to replace your people. Agentic AI is here to have people concentrate on the important decisions, use their creativity, their judgment, and act on exceptions or act on important decisions, while the agent is processing data heavy or step heavy or orchestrations that need the intelligence of AI to take decisions and to run the work in parallel. So we're not eluding this question, but we're saying that the Agentic AI is here to elevate the level of interventions that human beings, that people, that your team are going to work on and even to enjoy it more than crunching numbers and executing repetitive tasks that are not really of high interest. Paul?
Okay, thank you, Joe. So Paul Tutunji, I would like, before I comment this slide, to say don't forget to ask your question on the chat box, okay, which is on top. And we have anticipated some of those questions. So if these key questions that we have anticipated are not asked, we will tell you what these are ourselves. We will list them and answer them, because the idea is to finish this seminar, this webinar, with a complete and exhaustive view and understanding. Okay, so don't hesitate. So thank you, Joe. And Agentic AI is a virtual employee.
Netiks 360 Bank KYC onboarding with Copilot Studio and Agentic AI.
In this demo, we will show how customer onboarding becomes faster and completely hassle-free using Agentic AI. Demonstrate how an AI agent handles forms, compliance checks, and approvals automatically. Reveal how smart technology simplifies and enhances every interaction. And for this, we will walk you through a smooth banking KYC onboarding process from start to finish. This demo will leverage Dynamics 365 CRM and Copilot Studio to orchestrate the onboarding process. In our scenario, we are onboarding a potentially high-risk customer, and we will start off by creating a lead inside of Dynamics 365 and saving it so the agent can start the onboarding process. The agent will start off by creating an onboarding application. When we access this application, we can see that it is initiated and is currently at the compliance check stage, and the PAPML and risk statuses screening are in progress. Now that the screening is complete, indicated by the green tick and the summaries of each compliance check being available, since we have a high-risk customer in this scenario, the agent is going to create a compliance case. We open this record, then we can see the details of the compliance case, after which the compliance officer will receive an approval email for manual validation. The agent will wait for the compliance decision before taking the next action, and the compliance officer can then proceed to approve or reject this compliance validation after performing the necessary checks, which will trigger Copilot Studio agent to continue with the onboarding process. Since the compliance officer is submitting an approval, going back to the compliance case and refreshing it, we can see that it is resolved, and the compliance officer decision and comments are noted down in the compliance decision and compliance reason. Going back to the KYC application and refreshing it, we can see that the compliance case is resolved and the KYC application itself is at the final approval stage for the manager to either approve or reject the customer. Going back to the customer, the AI agent decides to update the customer information with all the information collected during the onboarding process via a web form, an OCR scan, or an NFC scan. And then in turn, it sends us an email that contains a Word document of the completed KYC application of this customer, which we can download, print, or send accordingly. Once the manager approves the KYC application, the customer status is updated from pending to approved, and we can see this through the green tick and summary next to the customer status. And if we go back to the customer record, we can see that it is qualified. Now we're going back to Copilot Studio to see how the Copilot agent is orchestrating the onboarding process, as in what actions it takes and when. And as you can see here, it's taking decision based on the instructions provided to it. We're going to rerun the agent with a test trigger, which is the new lead created or new customer created based on the run we did in the demo. Now that it is triggered, the agent is going to start the onboarding process. Also here you will get to see how efficiently and effectively the AI agent takes decisions and actions in the onboarding process. First, it is checking to see if it finds any OCR data for the customer, and if yes, then it will create a KYC application for the customer. Once created, it will proceed to check the PEP, AML, and risk status of said customer, and then proceed to update the KYC application autonomously based on the retrieved information and the power of prompt engineering. When done, since the customer is a potentially high-risk customer, the agent decides to create a compliance case based on the instructions provided to it in a similar situation, which will trigger the approval process on the compliance officer side. Once the compliance officer approves the case, the agent will continue based on a decision made by the compliance officer. In this case, it decides to update the lead and send us the KYC form through email. We can see the Word document here contains the completed KYC form of the customer, bearing in mind that the agent itself filled this application and sent it without any human intervention using an AI prompt. The Copilot agent then generates a KYC application summary and sends an email to the manager for customer final approval. What this means for you: orchestrate faster account opening and onboarding without repeated visits and forms, rely on accurate, secure verification that reduces errors automatically, save time by letting AI agents handle repetitive tasks efficiently, and benefit from a transparent and auditable process that's effortless and reliable.